Hello, everyone. Welcome as you come in. And today is the 23rd of April, 2019. I'm Roy Potter, and this is the Potter Expositor. An impromptu, although it's on my regular Tuesday. I don't really have any subject matter this morning. If you all are, good morning again as you come in. If you all are paying attention to what's going on, you can see the demon rats coming out with all types of accusations and stories. Um, the leftist Marxists in there are doing just some terrible things, and that's what you get when you're in an age of deception and there's this attempt to overturn a republic. We're not a democracy, as most of you know. A democracy is majoritarian coercion, which is a form of tyranny. It's also not just. And that's why we are not a democracy. And so all these calls for the popular vote and all that, there's a reason why we don't have a popular vote, because it to guarantee the republic, and I know most of you know this, to guarantee the republic, the electoral college was instituted, and in that way you're not getting majoritarian coercion. Now, is it unfair for a minority, a group of people, to sway the majority? Well, when it comes to the Constitution and the Bill of Rights, that's what is supposed to be protected by the Republic. In other words, that you don't have a situation where the majority can rule that they can uh, commit tyranny or authoritarianism over a minority. So you can bet that if things were switched around right now and the leftists wanted this to be so that they could do what they want, or wanted to be protected in what they want, and it was against the will of most of the people, they'd be screaming just the other way. See what I mean? So they were going to argue it from the position of taking advantage of the system for their benefit and for the benefit of their, not just their outlook, but their goal of overturning the Constitutional Republic of the United States. And we fall into that, and I talked a little bit about that yesterday. Representative Swalwell is a problem, and he's saying now that that people can only have guns if they have them in gun lockers in gun ranges and things like that. Obviously, this is the same old creep again, and I mean that you know tongue in cheek as well as a double entendre, because he is a creep. Uh, there's no mistaking that this guy is going to be a problem for the republic in the future, and we need to jump on him and embarrass him. Uh, every person that gets into an office in the United States, an elected office, and even bureaucratic offices, law enforcement, things like that, take an oath to support and defend the Constitution of the United States. And there should be a law, a statute written up that explains that if you get into an office and then you start declaring that you're going to remove one of the Bill of Rights, one of the inviolate rights in the Constitution from the people, and I don't care how you define that as far as what you're going after. And let's just use guns as an example. The Second Amendment states that we have a right to keep and bear arms, etc. Right? If a representative, Swalwell included, comes out and puts forth a position counter to that, there should be a provision in the Constitution where he can be arrested for that. Well, in the Constitution, it would take an amendment, but certainly a statute defining that. Now, he would be protected during the time he's in session, but basically, do you understand what these people are doing? They're advocating the overthrow of the Constitutional Republic of the United States of America. That's what they're doing when they want to take away your Second Amendment, your First Amendment, your Fourth Amendment. They're violating the Constitution, which is the supreme law of the land, and they are, in fact, let me bring that a little closer so you can hear me, advocating the overthrow of the Constitutional Republic. That's really what they're doing. So I wanted to bring that up to everybody so that they'll know what's up, and we're going to talk a little bit this morning. I'll take some questions. I have just one other thing I want to do. Thank you so much. One other thing that I want to do. I mentioned this thing down on the New Mexico border yesterday, and I told you that there's probably something to do with the leader of that group, that he may have a charge and I didn't know what it was. Well, apparently it has something to do with a firearms violation. That he wasn't, not just that he's a felon now with firearms, but apparently the previous charge had something to do with him having weapons that he shouldn't have, whatever. The reason why I called this live stream the show is not because of the show. It's because the leftists, remember I put out that information yesterday that and I've been saying it for a long time, that the DOJ, the FBI, all of these different three-letter agencies in the government have all been infiltrated. It was planned this way. It was deliberate planning and operation to get leftist Marxists in there to force that agenda of destroying the constitutional republic. That's really the end result. So the show that I'm talking about is that the FBI and all of these agencies, I'll give you an example. The DEA was caught doing something that they weren't supposed to do. It was against the law for them to do it. But they have this stupid immunity that Congress has given to them that goes way beyond reality and makes it difficult to hold these people in check. Well, when the DEA, before they got called out on it, there was a guy who asked them, well, why are you doing this? It's illegal. And you know what their response was? As an agency, we're going to keep doing it until a court tells us that we can't. In other words, these bureaucratic LEOs and intelligence people, as we've seen with the Trump thing as it's going to come out, violate the law with impunity. And their answer is, well, we'll stop when the courts tell us to. In other words, they violate their oaths and the law up front. Well, again, I don't know what this guy did in the past, okay? Maybe he shouldn't have had a weapon on the border or at all. But I have a sneaking suspicion, because now it's moved to where they're claiming that he and his group are planning to assassinate Soros, Clinton, and some other people. Yeah, right. Yeah, right. You know what that is? That's a public relations campaign to justify what the FBI is doing. They're crooked, they're evil. Chances are, I imagine that people in everyday conversation have said, gee, I'd like to kill Soros, or I'd like to kill Obama, or I'd like to not. I'm not saying that I would. I'm saying people just say it because that's kind of a euphemism. You know, you get so disgusted with somebody, you just want to get, it's a venting process. Now, I'm not certain that happened. There could have been some people inside this organization that were talking about that. But you know what? What was the first action that they took to start that process? I'll bet you there wasn't one. From what I understand, the people in this group were, a number of them were former law enforcement officers and military. You know, in everyday language, they might just say, gee, I'd like to assassinate somebody or whatever. There's no overt act, though, to start the process. It's a venting. Now, I'm not certain that's what happened here, but I got a sneaking suspicion that all this is a show, that they brought this information against this guy and probably stacked a lot of baloney in there based on normal, everyday conversation, sort of like what they're trying to do with Trump, but they couldn't pin anything on him, in the second part of the Mueller report. So they've made a lot of innuendos, I would suspect, against these people. And what's the purpose? Well, first of all, because they want these invaders coming in the country. It covers for their business. And what business is that? Well, the drug business, the contraband business. So there are people in these law enforcement agencies, in the military and other places, that they have a vested interest in keeping the competition down. Well, I'm not saying this is all what's happened here, but I've seen it in the past. So what's going on? Did these guys go down on the border, and were they protecting an area that the competition was being kept out of? The competition for the DEA, the FBI, the CIA. In other words, were these guys inhibiting the business of contraband for these intelligence and law enforcement agencies? Who knows? The one thing that we have learned is that we cannot trust any longer anything the FBI does, anything. And in this entire thing that Bill Barr is doing, in my estimation, he should not use the FBI to investigate any of this. He should use either U.S. Marshal Service or bring in an entirely different, and they can do it, bring in an entirely different organization, kind of like he did his DOJ assistants that he brought in from his law firm. Now, President Trump can do that under Article 2, Section 2, and Article 2, Section 3. No one should trust the FBI any longer. I heard Sean Hannity again last night. Oh, the rank and file, 99.9% of the FBI is okay. I think he must have a relative who works in the FBI that he's trying to keep from hurting, or he's trying to keep out of trouble with his boss. Maybe trying to encourage the other agents to be good, but I don't know if it's that. I think he might just be ignorant and stupid about what's really happened in this country, because it's not true what he says. And I've put out several things over the last week or so to show you that people that are in the know that what Sean Hannity says about the rank and file of the FBI and the IC in general is not true. That they've been infiltrated, deliberately stacked with leftist Marxist Democrats, and are not in the business of protecting the constitutional republic or even us. So again, on this guy on the border, if he was not supposed to have a weapon, he should have gone some other way to challenge that charge against him, that conviction, whatever. But I think all the rest of it, I just smell that this is a show. All right, and the FBI doesn't care if they're making lies, whatever grand jury they used, or just charging. I don't know what they did on this, but it's a show. I'm pretty sure. I mean, if this guy was that bad, why didn't they act before they went on the border? This is smelling a lot like the Michigan militia deal a few years ago. Do you remember that, when they were set up? Do you remember that? This sounds a lot like that. So a word of warning: anytime you get together with a group of people that are trying to do the right thing, you're going to be infiltrated by these criminals in the law enforcement agencies. These criminals who are out for their careers and for the destruction of your rights and the lives of your family, etc. Just be aware of that. I'm not saying don't stand up. I'm saying that they're going to be there to try to use anything against you to turn you into a criminal, even if that's not your intent. But if you're somebody like Hillary and you have an intent to do a crime, they're going to protect you if you're somebody like Hillary. Do you see how disgusting this is and why I have been after this thing for so long? Okay. Well, that's all I had this morning. Let me just check and see if anybody's asking any questions here that I need to answer. Yeah, deplorable. Yeah, you got a point. She says, if you're going to fight back, don't talk about it. Yeah, that's right. But, InfraGard is everywhere. You've got spies all over now. Everybody wants to be a secret agent. And Obama saw that, and the elite saw that. And so they've been telling all these citizens for a long time that they're special agents for the CIA and all that stuff. Everybody wants to be a secret agent. The Stasi had that, and the Soviet Union had it. Where you rat on your neighbors, you rat on your family members. What's the answer? Stick with competent authority. I think that's the safest thing to do. Now, the U.S. Customs and Border Patrol was not looking favorably upon these guys, so they say. But if the governor of New Mexico is not going to do a damn thing, he's a crook, or she's a crook. I think it's a lady now. But go to Texas, offer to help the National Guard there. I don't know that Governor Abbott would accept that. But there's the point is that you get deputized as a posse member or something like that with a constitutional sheriff, that kind of a thing. And then at least you're protected. You still get to do what you want to do, but you're not going to be subject to these lies and these setups by these corrupt law enforcement agencies that, again, have the destruction of the constitutional republic as their real goal, and to keep the American people thinking that they don't have power and that they don't have a right to exercise their rights, that they don't have a right to exercise their rights to protect themselves. That's what's going on here. It's a training program, a lot like the TSA. That's what it is. So we have corrupt people all through those agencies. I don't give a damn what Sean Hannity says. He doesn't deal with it. He's ignorant or he's complicit. And I like Sean Hannity, but on this thing, he's bad. I also heard Carrie Welder this morning. I don't know if you know who she is, but she was talking about the legalization of marijuana. I think you need to go see that. I don't care for marijuana at all, but I do understand the political ramifications of what they've done here to make it illegal, about it being a money-making thing, a control thing. And, I am for legalization, or at least decriminalization, and there is a difference. I don't know if they could do that at the federal level. They'd probably have to legalize it at the federal level, not just decriminalize it. But regardless, obviously this is a thing to keep the police departments going, with civil asset forfeiture, which has been reined back by the Supreme Court, by the way, if you know that. A way for, the justice system, both the citizen lawyers and the courts and the law enforcement agencies to increase their budgets, get money, steal money from people by seizing it, things like that, and filling our prisons. We have the largest prison system in the world, more than China. More people in prison than China. Does that make any sense? No. It's because it's turned into a money-making thing. We should be ashamed of ourselves. Absolutely ashamed of ourselves. Hal, yeah, Hannity's not going to mess up his job. Not hard to fake American accent. Huh? Must be talking with somebody else. Okay, let me go to the top of this thing and see what we got here. I'm not going to stay on long this morning. I'm on the road again. Okay. Yeah, General Jones. Yeah, Joe DeGenevi's interview yesterday. Joe DeGeneva is letting some things out, and he's close to Barr. He defended Barr on that. It was the Hill TV, I think, where he just let that lady, talking head, just have it. I think a lot of us would rather have had Joe DeGeneva in the AG position than Bill Barr, but things are looking okay. Joe DeGeneva is more of a he's bombastic. Bill Barr's more reserved, but apparently they're on the same sheet of music. So we'll see what happens. All we can do is wait and hope. Again, Bill Barr's kind of a fix-it guy. He's going to be more concerned with protecting and saving the institutions in the long run. That's why I say I don't think he's going to go very deep. He's going to try to make the changes with the guys getting out of the top, maybe. But he's out to save the institutions. That's what he's really about. And that's not a bad thing necessarily. It's just that we cannot, like everybody's saying, we cannot allow these criminals to get away. Yeah, I saw that. Republic of Texas 2019. Can you believe? Now, I don't know what their ROE was there. I have no idea what it was. I can imagine. But to surrender your weapons? Whoa. They need to be court-martialed. At least, thank you. At least Article 15's, maybe court-martialed. Oh, it depends on what the ROEs are, the rules of engagement. I don't know what it was. But for the Mexicans, the Mexican army guys to say they didn't know that they had crossed the border is a lie, because the Rio Grande is right there. They knew the moment they crossed the Rio Grande, so that's a lie. Now, there are places where the border changes slightly, and I understand this, because the course of the river changes over time. So there are places where the river isn't actually the boundary. Sometimes it's further into Mexico, sometimes it's further into the United States. But if you saw the picture of where this event happened, I would guess that it was at least several hundred yards, which is way off, the course of the river, several hundred yards to the north of the river. There's no way those Mexican soldiers didn't know they were in the United States. There's no way. But for the American soldiers to give up their weapons, that's crazy. That's crazy. Uh, you don't do that. You don't do that. And if that was an order, if that was part of the ROEs, the commander should be relieved of duty. Nobody's going to take my soldiers' weapons. I tell you, nobody, no one is going to take my soldiers' weapons. There'll be a damn firefight. There'll be people dying before they take my soldiers' weapons. That's how I handled things when I was in the military. Okay. Yeah, right. Marine Corps Sergeant, I agree. Yeah, the people who espouse the constitutional republic are the ones that are constantly being harassed by the leftist, Marxist law enforcement agencies. Of course, that's what I've been saying. That's exactly right. If anybody sees Marine Corps Staff Sergeant comment here, yeah, absolutely. That's what it's all about. It's to put down those who. I mean, all you got to do is look at the FBI and see what they do. Damn Sean Hannity for continuing to say this, because what he's doing is he's putting people to sleep. Or in this case, like me, he's making people like me very angry at him because he doesn't know what he's talking about, or he's complicit. But yeah, it is always patriots. It always is. Um, Look, and I pointed this out yesterday. Look at how the FBI helped the jihadists to get up to Garland, Texas. Look at the LV shooting. Look at the bombing of the World Trade Center, the first one back in the early 90s. And we could go on and on and on. And I could tell you what they did at Bundy Ranch. I told you they were trying to set me up, right? I told you about that. I was never a part of any planning there at Bundy Ranch, period. I was there to demonstrate against the BLM and to document what was going on. But because, well, former Lieutenant Colonel Roy Potter's here, he was involved somehow. Oh, yeah, right. Those people did a very brave thing standing up against the federal government, against those criminal bureaucracies. And President Trump needs to do something about that, because basically the whole thing at Bundy Ranch was real. I mean, it was several years before, of course, because the executive order on our resources he signed December 21st, 2017. But basically, the American people were standing up against this theft of our resources and our rights at places like what the Hammonds were doing in Oregon and at the Bundy Ranch. And there have been other examples. So it's really discouraging to see how this thing works. Our federal government is out of control, 100%. 100%. And Bill Barr in that regard doesn't give me much hope because of his position there at Ruby Ridge, his position on the Patriot Act, on gun control, Second Amendment, on Fourth Amendment, all these things. Yeah, Hillary has demons protecting her. There's no other answer for this. Be they spirit beings that are demons, or fleshly beings, they're demons. They're demons. Soros is a major problem, as are the Rothschilds. And I think a lot of us have talked about, it'd be nice to get rid of those guys. If we met them on the street, we'd blow their brains out, right? Well, that's probably the kind of conversation that was going on in this constitutional militia group or whatever. I keep forgetting their name. And then it was just blown out of proportion. And that's what they do. That's what the FBI does. They're liars and deceivers. No one. If the FBI brings a case to court, it should automatically be dismissed by the jury, not believed at all. I mean, it's really that bad. We need to get back to our local law enforcement handling these things. Let the FBI get back to enforcing the law of the federal government on federal employees, federal projects, things like that, military installations, stuff like that. Get them out of all this other crap about that they instituted because of the Interstate Commerce Clause. There are other ways to handle that without bringing these people who have demonstrated their lack of justice, virtue, honor, and integrity. What is that? Fidelity, integrity, bravery. You got to be kidding me. That's been a lie for a long time, probably from the institution of the organization. Yeah, Mrs. B states, yeah, there probably is an informant. This guy could very well have been placed in there by the FBI to do exactly what's happened to taint organization that was trying to do a good thing. Oh, absolutely. You've got that figured out. Yeah, of course, Mrs. B. Stacy. Absolutely. Let me read what she says. Isn't it possible the guy is an informant and the implanting of him was to arrest him and make the group look bad? Absolutely. That's exactly what I'm saying. That's exactly what I'm saying. At Bundy Ranch, they had the Millers who came in there and tried to cause a problem, and some other people. And of course, those Millers, they went in and they shot those Las Vegas police officers. All that was, there's no doubt that they were MK Ultra because anytime the American people stand up, the good American people, somebody's going to be there to try to put water on the fire. Yep. Gee whiz, my my moderators must be here. Thank you. If you are, I just see that one of the things was deleted. Yeah, watching on the wall, that's a problem. See, that's why they want to change it. And even though the population in the United States has more guns than any army in the world, they're really not organized to fight. They're really not. If the government went south today, the people aren't organized enough to really make a difference. They really aren't. How fast could it happen? Depends on the leadership. And so what happens? They try to take out the leadership. People like Alex Jones, Mac Bracken. I know some of you don't like Craig Sawyer, but he has the training. He still understands things. People like that, they're going to get rid of right off the bat. That's really what they're about. So they know that the organization is what is the difference. A small organized group of soldiers. If you saw The Last Survivor, it plainly shows you what I'm talking about. A handful of SEALs, well trained. They know each other very well, and they're fighting a group of dozens or maybe even hundreds. See, organization is important because that's where all the cohesiveness comes. And unfortunately, having a gun doesn't make you organized. It just doesn't. We're trained, not in the way you need to be. Yeah, they do have us all going in different directions. Yeah, they do. That's Denise J. That's the idea. Keep so many things happening. We can't resolve one thing before another one hits us. It's a principle of propaganda and logical warfare. It's been going on for a long time. Our government is evil. I hope Trump and Bill Barr can do something about it. When they go and arrest Brennan, that's going to be the first step. When they go and arrest Brennan and Comey, that's going to send a huge message. A dang shooting fight might start in the government, but that's going to send a huge message. Let's see if Bill Barr and Trump actually do that. All right, let's go down the list here. I've already been on for almost half an hour, and I got to eat breakfast and head out on the road. But let me just see if you wanted to restore the republic. Yeah. Okay, we've already been there. Let me see if anybody's got a question that I can answer. It's pretty easy. Yeah, deplorable. You're right. Soldiers follow orders. Look higher up. That's why I say whoever the commander is of that unit, I would if I was in that chain of command, I would relieve that commander. Unless I had made the order, then somebody should relieve me. That should never, ever, ever, ever happen. Ever. Yeah. Finest planet. I know. You're right. Hannity is stuck between a hard place and rock, but he doesn't have to keep stroking the FBI as 99.9%. He doesn't even have to say that. He just needs to let it drop. He really does. It's manifestly not true. Yeah, military and cop worship is bad. You've heard me say that before, Santana Bonacci. The military is a necessary evil. It should not be worshipped. And the United States worships its military. Bad idea. And cops, too. Look at all the cop shows on TV. Yeah, that kind of worship, that's idol worship, is really what it is. It's a form of idol worship. And it also is wrong. It's very wrong. We appreciate the sacrifices that military and police officers and law enforcement make when they're doing the right thing. But how many times in the world have we used those things to commit evil? some of these questions would take too long to answer. I'm sorry, and I don't want to. I don't want to be here all day. Yeah, yeah. General Jones, I was just talking about Joe DeGeneva. Yeah, Joe knows Bill Barr, and I'm sure he's privy to some inside information. He won't talk about it, but he will. He can say, I'm sure. I'm sure Bill has said, "Tell everybody we're moving forward." I hope. And hearing DeGeneva say it, I believe it. I don't think Bill Barr could fool DeGeneva. Okay, I don't think he could. Topa, I do agree with you. If everybody could go to D.C. and demand it, I think it would work. Um, but again, you know, most people are. What's the reality of being able to do that? Probably not until the gas stops and the food shuts down. I hate to say it, but that's probably the case. Okay. Soros is a bad dude. Bottom line, period. Yes, Marilyn Mattoon. Sorry, I don't have the link to the degenerate. He's given a lot of these. Been on Lou Dobbs. He's been on Hannity. He's been on Seb Gorka, and he's saying the same thing on all of those. He and his wife Victoria Tunsing, and they're great people. I have so much respect for them. I think most of us do. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and go. It's been an hour. Like I say, I got to kind of move along here. Thanks for coming. Keep your eyes on the horizon, your ears to the ground. Prep, pray, and stay out of the way. Although, like I said the other day, somebody said, I think we can't stay out of the way any longer. Yeah. Um, we need to be loud. We need to be talking loud, very loud, which is why I continue this. And like I said, I got that letter President Trump was mailed to me a year ago. It's a year old, and but I felt like I had to show it to you because this has been a thing for me. I want to call Trump out, but I want to give him accolades too when he deserves it. And really, it's been in the back of my mind for a long time, um, that situation. So, at any rate, it wasn't a brag. It was just to show you that you do make a difference. Holding on to that for a year, um, and still vacillating back and forth. I just want everybody to know about that. Okay. All right. All right. I'm gonna head out. Thanks everybody for being here. Like I said, God bless you. Bless yours. God bless the Constitutional Republic of the United States of America and the Second American Revolution. And may God bless Donald Trump and all of his what righteous endeavors. And may the Lord give him the spirit of discernment that will distill upon him as the dews from heaven, that he will know the right from the wrong and do the right thing. Okay? All right. Out here for now.